Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Paige, an ultramarathon runner in training and an overall fitness enthusiast. I'm currently on a journey to go from running a 5K to 50K with nothing in between. And I'm planning on doing this in just over a year of actual training. Full disclosure, I am not a dietitian, I am not a fitness professional, I am just a runner who has a personal opinion about fitness and would like to talk about my experiences. So let's cut to the chase. Do diets work? Short answer, yes they do. They completely work. If you eat in a calorie deficit, you will lose weight. If you eat in a calorie surplus, you will gain weight. And anyone who has been on a diet will tell you it's a lot harder than that. And it is. And for this video, I'm assuming that most people watching are trying to lose weight and not gain or maintain their weight. And if you are in those categories, don't worry, I'm not dismissing you. I am not dismissing the challenges you face either. I'm just going with what the vast majority of people are trying to do. And there still might be some information in this video that you may find helpful, so sticking around is much appreciated. So, as I was saying, do diets work? To get into the long answer, we must first talk about what a diet is. And by the most literal interpretation of diet, it is what you eat. So whatever you're eating now is your diet. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say most people don't think of diets this way. When someone says you're on a diet, they think like Weight Watchers or some celebrity diet or whatever. And don't get me wrong, these diets will help you lose weight if you use them to cut back your calorie count. If you do that, you will lose weight. Simple math. You know, as I said before, eat in a calorie surplus, you will gain. Eat in a deficit, you will lose. It's simple, calories in, calories out. Always has been, always will be. But anyone who has tried one of these fad diets can know it can be difficult to lose the weight in the long term. Personally, I believe that these diets promote a cycle of gain and loss through their nature. A lot of people will call this yo-yo dieting because, you go up, you go down, you go up, you go down, and it's just a cycle. And I believe this is simply because of how restrictive these diets can be, and they can be very hard to follow. Diets like this often take a lot of work and a lot of willpower and focus to get the results, and it's more of a get there fast rather than developing habits. It doesn't allow you to develop the habits required to live a healthy lifestyle. You have to learn to make those permanent changes. And these diets, these fad diets, they're not permanent. It's highly likely that you'll fall off before you hit your goal or fall off just after you hit your goal and go back to your old habits. And if you go back to your old habits, you will most likely regain the weight you lost, and depending on how bad you slide back, you could gain more. It happens to the best of us. It's happened to me, not in the form of fad diets, but in the form of just, I lose 5 pounds, gain 6 back. Because your old habits were most likely causing you to gain in the first place. So if you slide back to those old habits, you'll start gaining again. In my personal, non-professional opinion, if you want to make a diet work, you must have a diet that is relatively painless and that you can maintain in the long term to slowly but sustainably lose the weight. A diet that will work long term is one you can adjust over time to maintain the weight loss. And until you get to your goal, you need to be able to adjust to maintain that weight loss for long term. That means eating in a slow calorie deficit until you're no longer losing, instead start maintaining. I believe this process is reverse dieting. I know my dietitian mentioned that, but once you get to your goal weight, you start increasing your calories and how I see it, I've been thinking about this little analogy for a while, but crash diets are kind of like throwing a dart. You put in a lot of focus and energy to hit the target real quickly. And then once you've achieved that, you stop doing all the work. It's done. Now, unlike with darts, your diet, once you're done putting in the work, the dart is most likely going to stick to the target. I mean, if you've ever seen darts, until you remove it yourself. But with a diet, once you stop doing the work, you lose the results. You'll slowly start gaining weight back if you go back to what you were doing before. Common theme here. And this method of rush down to the target and then go back to what you were doing before almost always leads to a person getting back what they lost, and sometimes even more depending on how far back you slide, as I mentioned before. And in my opinion, we should treat our diet like you're driving a car. You don't just launch your car towards the destination and hope for the best. You drive. When you drive a car, you adjust your speed and direction as the road changes. You don't just press the gas and hope for the best. That's not how driving works. And we should treat our diet like that. If you want long-term success in your diet, you should be able to make adjustments over time. If you exercise a lot like I do, you're going to need to eat a lot more, and I eat more than I would if I were sedentary, and so I make adjustments over time. If there's a week where I'm not working out or exercising as much, I'm eating significantly less than if I were to be exercising a lot, because my caloric needs change. And you need to be kind of self-aware of that and adjust as you go along. And you can't just stop exercise and continue doing what you normally do, because then you're going to gain weight, and then when you go back to exercising, it's going to creep back down. So you really got to adjust. And a perfect example of how people adjust their diet over time is bodybuilders. They often go through cycles of bulking and cutting. You'll see a muscular dude eating fast food going, yeah, I'm on a bulk. Or they'll be like, I can't eat that, I'm on a cut. They bulk to gain weight, and they do gain fat, but they also gain muscle, and they eat in a calorie surplus with a heavy focus on protein to build their muscles. And then when they go on a cut, they try to keep the protein, but cut back on their calories to burn the fat they gained during their bulk, and therefore lose a little weight. And I know some of you are going to be like, but bodybuilders aren't healthy. I never said they were. They're not. And you can ask almost any professional bodybuilder, and they're going to agree that bodybuilding is not healthy. I'm just using them as an example as how you can steer the car, so to speak. And you just need to correct as you go along and change your diet over time based off of the time of year, life circumstances. Like in the winter, if you're inside and sedentary all the time, just cut back a little bit. But during the summer, if you're outside and exercise all the time, eat a little more. And it's simple as that. You just got to learn how to steer the car in the direction of where you want to go. And this can apply to weight loss, weight gain, and weight maintenance, as always. You just need to learn how to maintain. So, in my personal opinion, if you want to lose weight fast, you have 10, 15 pounds to lose to fit into a dress for a celebration, or you just want to look good for someone's wedding or whatever, crash dieting or the fad diets are a really effective way to get there. You'll lose the weight real quick, have it off for whatever reason, and then you can move on with your life. But if you want to make long-term results and have that work stick, you need to make sustainable and maintainable changes to your life. And that's what I have to say about do diets work. But we're going to enter a little segment I like to call things that helped me lose weight and will probably help me maintain that weight loss. I'm still in the process. I have 10, 15 pounds left to lose. First of all, if you're losing weight for a long period, I'm talking over 6 months, multiple years, I would recommend doing a couple of short maintenance periods for a week or two, sometimes even a month. Instead of eating in a calorie deficit, calculate what your maintenance calories would be and eat at maintenance. Take a break from the diet eat maintenance, not a surplus, maintenance. And just stop losing weights, eat your maintenance calories. And what this will do is it'll teach you what eating at maintenance calories looks and feels like. So you will get a sense of what you should be eating when you get to your goal weight. If you do a couple practice maintenance during your weight loss period, and it's okay for the first couple times if you lose or gain a little bit during that, like fluctuations, that's okay, you're learning. But if you do these maintenance periods during your weight loss journey, once you get down to your weight, your like desired weight or body composition or what have you, you're more likely to know what to do when you get there, instead of going, I've lost X number of pounds, now what? And then you're scrambling to figure out what to do while your weight fluctuates. So I'd recommend that. I've done 2 maintenance periods. One was like a couple months long because I like pumpkin spice. And the other one was literally just a week. I did not feel like eating in a calorie deficit, so I ate maintenance. I'm still alive. See? I'm here. So that is the number 1 tip. The next one, which can be so hard to break, trust me, is to avoid drinking your calories. I generally, for the most part, avoid drinking anything that is more than 15 calories. I will drink energy drinks. Not good for you. I'm never going to say, drink an energy drink. They're good for you. I drink them because sometimes I don't have the time to wait for a cup of coffee to cool, and I just need caffeine fast. Or sometimes I just need a pick-me-up, and I'll get an energy drink. Not good, not the best habit, I understand that, but I generally avoid drinking things that have more than 15 calories. So, now this isn't a permanent, you can never drink your calories again, but this is a sneaky way. Like, it is very easy to drink a few cans of soda, or your orange juice, or adding cream and sugar to your coffee. It is so easy. Like, when I was adding cream and sugar to my coffee, I was counting what I added, and then I actually measured it out once and found out I was putting like 5 times the amount I was counting in my coffee. And since then, I'm like, you know what? It's not worth taking 5 minutes to measure out my cream and sugar every morning. So I just started drinking it black to make my life easier. But just avoid drinking your calories because they tend to sneak up, and a lot of beverages are really calorie dense. There's a few exceptions, like I'll occasionally drink a coffee with cream and sugar from Dunkin', or I do drink protein shakes, and I drink them to get a boost in protein primarily. And number 2 is on days I do like a 10-mile run or a huge workout, my stomach only has so much capacity, so to eat what I burned and to not be in a 1,000-calorie deficit, which let me tell you is not safe or healthy, you need to eat more. And sometimes your stomach is just not big enough to hold the food you need to eat, especially if you're eating like fruits and veggies. So what I do instead to make up those calories is a protein shake. It's a good 160, 180 calories. Get some protein in, and volume-wise, it's not that bad. That's the only reason I would say drink your calories. Or, you know, if it's a holiday or a special occasion, go ahead and have a soda. Have a glass of wine. But as a general rule of thumb, I would avoid any beverage with calories in it. It's just gonna cause you to go over, or you're gonna drink that coffee, realize, oh, that's a lot of food I can't eat now because of that. So I would just at the very least, be mindful of it. And then, do I have a third tip? Yes, I do have a third tip. Meal prepping. I highly recommend it. 1, it takes a lot of the thought out of your food. I probably put like 20 minutes of thought into what I'm going to eat, and I meal prep 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday, and usually it takes all the brain power. I put 20 minutes of brain power into what I'm going to eat, and usually it's just pick 2 meals. And then I prep them, I have them. It takes all the willpower out because it is so easy to go, I don't feel like cooking and ordering fast food. So instead, I meal prep. You just grab the food out of the fridge, pop it in the microwave. 2 minutes later, you're eating dinner. It takes a lot of the willpower and work out of eating healthy. And you can make lower calorie foods or higher protein foods than that And one thing that meal prepping is great is if you don't have time to cook but you want to eat home cooked food, meal prepping allows you to eat home cooked food without cooking home cooked food every day. And for me, the biggest thing is, why don't foods come in serving sizes for one person? You buy a package of chicken breast and it feeds 4 people, and you're like, I am not 4 people. So, little rant aside, meal prepping, highly recommend it, especially if you have a hard time with ordering out or going out to eat because you don't feel like cooking. Meal prep takes all of that away. You just have to spend maybe an hour and a half a week cooking for my meal prep. So it's that simple, and honestly, not sponsored. If they have meal prep services where you can buy pre-portioned, pre-cooked foods, and you literally just pop them in the microwave. I've never tried them, but I guess if you really don't have time to cook, that might be an option too, if you have time but not, or you have money but not time. So that was my third tip. And that just about wraps up what I have to say about the topic. I plan on making videos on specific crash diets or specific diets. Like, I was thinking like the carnivore diet would be a good one, and just celebrity diets in general, like where I just read what it's all about and see if it's good, like it's doable, or if this is really not good and you should probably avoid it. I am not a dietitian, but I'd like to throw my hat into the ring with these and just tell you what it is and tell you what your expected results will be, and maybe we can poke fun at some of the weirder ones. And leave a comment on what you think, and if there is a specific diet you want me to talk about, please leave a comment. I only know a few diets off the top of my head, so I'm going to be consulting the great and powerful Goog for diets. And so far, thank you so much for watching. Leave some feedback if you feel so inclined. It's truly appreciated. And honestly, this is the first video I've done where I pre-scripted what I was going to say beforehand, and I tried my hardest to make it sound organic, like I'm talking, instead of just reading an essay at school. In the past, I've tried scripts, and it sounds like I've been reading them in front of a classroom. But hopefully I did better this time, and leave my feedback there. I would love feedback. And thank you again so much for making it this far, and hopefully you'll have a good one.